just after the CEOs of the three largest cruise groups publicly said there's over 90% chance of cruises running out of USA ports in 2020, they cancelled all cruises into December and for some of their lines well into 2021. So what is going on? What should cruisers be expecting and why? The shape of cruising out of the United States in the coming months has become significantly clearer through a series of announcements and revelations by the cruise lines, including the world's largest cruise line, Carnival, finally going public on what cruise passengers can expect on their ships when they start sailing again. Let's explore and unpick the key developments you need to know about, and I will discuss what they mean for you and us as cruisers. First, a quick reminder, the no-sail order in the United States waters was extended to the 31st of October by the CDC. This was after an intervention by the White House Coronavirus Task Force, who overruled their reported plan to extend it to the end of February 2021. The plan was for the task force, led by Vice President Mike Pence, to meet with the heads of the cruise lines to discuss and hopefully agree protocols and plans to resume sailing. However, of course, this was postponed following the outbreaks in the White House. Now, at the time of recording, no news on when this will take place, so the timescale on discussions is less clear. Now, as the lines have said, it will take around 60 days, that's 2 months, from approval to sail. That's because they have to get ships in place, they have to get them ready to sail. It should be no surprise that they have all cancelled cruises to the end of November for now. But there are some key steps and plans announced meantime that I really think you need to understand. In my view, one welcome and very important development has been confirmed. CLIA, which is the International Cruise Line Association, announced on the 6th of October that all their member lines will have testing of crew and passengers as a requirement before boarding. Their statement said CLIA, ocean cruise line members worldwide, have agreed to conduct 100% testing of passengers and crew on all ships with a capacity to carry 250 or more persons, with a negative test required for any embarkation. Now, CLIA members include all the Carnival group, so lines like Carnival, Princess, Cunard, Holland America and Seabourn, or the Royal Caribbean group, so Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Azamara, Silversea, or the Norwegian group, so Norwegian Cruise Line, Oceania, Regent, Seven Seas. Lines like Crystal are also members. Viking are not members, so we will wait to hear for their announcement on this, but I'm guessing they will follow it. Ensuring that virus-free people are boarding ships has to be a key element to try and keep ships clear of the virus entering the ship, as much as testing will allow, of course. Now, testing has worked very successfully so far for the European lines like MSC Cruises, Costa and others that have used it as they started cruising again in Europe. Though it's not clear what form the testing will be and who pays for it yet. Now, some lines, such as Saga in the UK, they've announced that they will actually be doing two-stage testing, with guests having to do a test before they depart to join the ship and another pierside before boarding. Now, this is covered within the fares on Saga. So we need to look out for the exact testing approach as each line announces specific protocols and, of course, importantly, any impact on their fares. Now, in Europe, testing has been included within the fares. The next raft of announcements that came out will definitely not please a section of cruise passengers who are hoping for a return to cruising how it was. I have to say that I am okay with all of the changes as a way to be able to start cruising again. So what exactly are the changes? Now, in a recent video, Carnival's new Chief Operating Officer, a man called Neil Palomba, he took the role after working, in fact, on a successful return to service of the Italian Costa line in Europe. Now, he laid out 5 things that cruisers should expect when Carnival is given the okay to sail. These are broadly the same as those already announced by the Royal Caribbean and Norwegian Cruise Line Healthy Sailing Panel for their respective lines. These changes will be as follows. First of all, reduced capacity. Now this will enable distancing, freeing up cabins to be set aside for isolation and quarantining if needed. Now Carnival have not yet said how much capacity will be cut by. Now in Europe we've seen ships only putting around 60% of their usual capacity on sale per cruise. Secondly, face masks and physical distancing. Now this will be a deal breaker for some, certainly based on the comments I get on my channel, and I've also seen on different cruise message boards. Masks will be required on Carnival group lines, Royal Caribbean group lines, Norwegian group lines, and also I've seen lines like Crystal are going to require them as well. They will be worn inside when social distancing is not possible. There will be physical distancing in all venues with limits on numbers at any one time in bars and theatres, and also requiring people to dine in household groups, for example, so those kind of things you should expect. Now, many cruisers have said they do not want to pay to cruise when they need to wear masks and will wait for a future date when this can finally be removed, and you may be one of those. Thirdly, only Carnival Cruise Line excursions. So cruisers will only be able to step off the ship in ports on cruise line excursions. There will be no self-touring or visiting shops and bars and so on. Again, this is also in the Royal Caribbean and Norwegian protocols and are included in other independent line protocols like Saga, Crystal and so on. So cruise line only excursions has also been a source of concern for many, with what may be a large number of people, certainly again based on comments and polls conducted by sites like Cruise Critic. So they may hold off cruising while this is required, and you may again be one of those people that wants to wait. We're all, of course, waiting to see what these are going to cost. Now in Europe, the costs of excursions has been reduced and various packages have been sold. The fourth key change is enhanced medical facilities, as we should expect are going to be put in place, as well the fifth change, which is significantly enhanced cleaning and disinfecting. Now the next area to note is in the nature and form of the actual cruises that will take place when cruising returns in the US of A. Now many cruisers seem to be expecting the cruises they've booked, and in fact are still being advertised as being for sale, as running when the lines start cruising again out of the US. This is not going to be the case based on what the lines are doing and what the CEOs are saying. You should be ready for new cruises that are short, limited itinerary cruises, and this happened in Europe as well. So let's see why I say this. Now, first of all, when Carnival cancelled all the cruises out of the USA ports except for Miami and Port Canaveral for November and December, the announcement made it clear they could not confirm that the cruises from those ports would even run as advertised. They offered, in fact, people cruising from those ports the ability to cancel with no penalties. Now, Carnival has said they will focus their initial return on those two ports, Miami and Port Canaveral, but stressed they might not be able to sail from those ports in November and December. So the Carnival president, Christine Duffy, said, and I quote, "As we have said throughout this pause, our return to operations will be gradual and phased in." So very important to note. Secondly, building on that, Richard Fain, who runs the Royal Caribbean group, so that's Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Silversea, Azamara, he said in the last week in a travel agent update that they hope to be able to do this year a series of non-revenue sailings during which they can get the crew trained on the protocols. But importantly, and I'm quoting, "and then only with a ship or two at first, we hope to start sailing again. It will be short cruises at first with limited destination and controlled shore excursions. From there, they will, assuming things go as planned, expand. We won't rush." So again, big, strong words around how cruising is going to be limited and different. Thirdly, ports and countries, of course, need to be open and willing to accept cruise ships. This is going to be a challenge for many of the countries that cruises out of the USA ports call on. There are many limits, unlikely to change soon. Lots of countries still limiting accepting USA residents. Movement between borders is difficult. It's tightening, certainly as we see second waves emerging in many places. And so it's even more difficult for lines as they travel further afield. So we've seen lines like Azamara and Seabourn, they've cancelled right into spring 2021. And lines like Celebrity have cancelled their Asia and Australian winter 2020-2021 season. Whilst the resumption of cruising seems to be more likely than just a few weeks ago in the US, and there are many hurdles to overcome and be addressed, it seems there is agreement on what form the protocols will be, which are largely mirroring what has been tried in Europe. They will be new and short and limited cruises on a few ships out of one or two ports. This also means, of course, that the lines can ensure people booking those cruises, they're aware and they're willing to accept and follow all these new protocols. The key, of course, is still getting agreement with the CDC and the politicians to, it seems, to be able to start sailing. So what do you think about these developments? And if cruises resume along these lines in the US, will you be looking to book and go? Remember, I have loads more episodes of Tips for Travelers packed with cruising updates and tips. So why don't you go and enjoy another one of those right now?